Hi Eric, this is Brian. You know me as Sparkington on YouTube. Fear not, I am not a lady, but it's totally okay to get that confused based on some of the things that I might have said. Um, no worries, I actually had boobs earlier this year. That's a different story, but anyway. First of all, I want to thank you out of all sincerity, for taking time to post these videos, whether you type it or whether you're speaking in through the camera. I really appreciate you taking time to do that. Um, my hands are kind of going crappy too, not nearly like yours, because I don't have the syrinx. So I'll be clear about that. I don't have the syrinx, so I don't. Though I believe that one person's pain is, relevant to another individual's pain. Um, what you experience is worse. And props to you for having such a tremendously positive outlook. I mean, you know, uh, what appears to be a top-notch father, sure. Um, but anyway, I type a lot. I work in logistics. I type on the keyboard all day long. I've typed on the keyboard every day since I was a freshman in high school back in '96 or '97. Um, it's been a big part of my life, and I play guitar and drums. I actually started playing the guitar simply just because I hurt my knees really bad as a kid. I got a freak infection of pneumonia that settled in my knees, and they got essentially both to be the size of cantaloupes. So I got no walking for a half a year then. Um, Forgot where I was going with that because I also have memory issues. But anyway, my hands. I have a lot of hand pain. I don't know if you hear that. I cracked. I'm just doing that. I'm always typing all the work. I'm always trying to stretch my hands out. Something just to get rid of the pain. They're always in pain. And then for a while, I kind of was thinking it was possibly, some kind of arthritis, which it probably is. But we'll see. I've already had an interesting life of some medical conditions and stuff. Sorry, my daughter's dropping stuff on my laptop. Anyway, I was born about 4 months early. We essentially at first thought it was because my biological father, may have hit my mother or something like that. But that was still the case. Regardless, it's not important. Turns out this last December, I saw a new endocrinologist. Another different story short, due to these being born early, my pituitary gland is very small. My lungs are underdeveloped. My thyroid is about half the size it should be, and it doesn't work very well. My adrenal glands don't work at all, so got that going for me. I'm also completely blind in my right eye. Something called optic nerve hypoplasia. I have growth hormone deficiency, which is because of a growth hormone deficiency. I did not mean to rhyme. I have a thyroid deficiency as well as what's called a glucocorticoid deficiency, adrenal gland deficiency. I stopped taking my medications, which is a growth hormone injection and several medications to uh, more or less replace these hormones. When I was a teenager at 19, I stopped taking them, and no other dumb reason than I just didn't want to do it. And it's a stupid excuse, and I didn't understand that then. 9 years later, after I got married in 2007, I was after I got married in 2007, my wife got pregnant in about, I think it was 2008, 9. I'm not certain. My daughter's 3. I don't math very well. Anyhow, I found out my wife was pregnant, which was kind of surprising to me because I was pretty much always told I'd never be able to have beautiful children like this little thing here, Kayla. That beautiful little girl there. I never thought I was able to have kids, and boy, is she kids. um, Getting sidetracked here. But my memory sucks. I get short-term memory issues, I guess is what I call it. It feels like somebody just takes the needle right off the vinyl, and I just search for the words to come back to my face, or the ability to speak, or sometimes my mouth just goes and I can't talk, or it feels like I stutter, but it's not a stutter. You know what I mean, I'm sure. Anyway, I stopped taking medications, and I found out that my wife was pregnant, and I was starting to go downhill. My weight was terrible at one point. My headache was getting constant. I've always had photophobia because of being blind in one eye. So, some slight headaches are somewhat normal to me in the morning, or depending on what the environment is around me. So I didn't think much of the headaches, honestly, until started affecting my lower neck, and all the way down my back is constantly killing me. And hang on just a second. Go inside now, sweetie. You want inside now? Alright, so just keep it there. Just a second, sweetheart. I didn't get concerned until then. I told my doctor about it, and he prescribed me some muscle relaxants at one time that put me to sleep. But my opinion on most medication is, why go to sleep to feel better when you really want to feel better when you're awake? So I kind of lay off that stuff as much as humanly possible, which is, I just don't take it. I don't. It's probably expired. But at any rate, I went back to an endocrinologist who was utterly terrible. I've talked to you more in this video in this 6 minutes and 35 seconds than I probably honestly truly talked to my endocrinologist. I told him that I had handshakes really bad, I had tremors, and that I felt like my memory was getting crappy and my headaches were getting bad, and I was constantly exhausted. No matter what level of growth hormone I took, or what level of adrenal medication, hydrocort to be specific, that I took, the energy was not there. The drive is not there. Motivation for anything is nada. So he eventually looked at me one day, and and he gave me MRIs and stuff to see what's going on. Everything's normal. You're fine. So are you gonna smoke too, Terry? That's as we expected, as you told me. So we'll just treat your issues you already know about. Let's just go forward from there. And I was like, okay, good deal. Start feeling better soon. Anyway, I told him about these things, and it came to a point in I want to say probably September or October of 2011. I got tired of it. He gave me a machine to test blood sugar because I told him I had the handshakes and the tremors. And I looked at him and I said, "Don't you need to test my blood or something, Doc?" And he's like, "Oh no, just go home with that and let me know how you feel, what your results are in a month. Not how to use it, not what it's for really, what I'm looking for, nothing." So I didn't take it out of the box. I didn't do anything with it. I took it out of the box. Knew nothing about what was going on with it. I put it right back in the box. So I lied. I took it out of the box. Anyway, at that point, I never went back to see him. I sought out a new endocrinologist who I found online and read several reviews of, and she goes to Rose Medical Center here in Denver. And I live in Denver, Thornton, Colorado, to be specific, by the way. And since I saw her, she's turned my life around. I found out, I needed one of these fancy medical alert bracelets. I needed an injection in case, my adrenal glands go out and I go into an adrenal crisis and could eventually go into a coma. Just small stuff like that. I didn't know that when I'm sick, I'm supposed to take double my adrenal medication. That's why when I was sick, I stayed sick for like 2 weeks minimum in the bed. I told him why not? We're talking about everything else here. My nipples were tender. Nothing. I told her about that, and she's like, immediately, you need a mammogram. Different story. Totally different video. Hilarious, probably, potentially. I had a mammogram and stuff, and everything turned out normal. They couldn't figure out why I had something called gynecomastia. And if you've seen Fight Club and you know Bob with bitch tits, you're looking at him. Anyway, no, I'm not Meatloaf. That would be so sick. Anyway, Yeah, the point is he didn't find a lot of things that I told him I had the symptoms for, and this wonderful endocrinologist saw symptoms and was taking me to see different doctors and things, and treating me for things appropriately. I found out I'm vitamin D deficient as well. Good to know. She thought that might be the reasons for the shakes and everything, but they just didn't get better after my next visit with her, which was about 3 months later. And she said, what else is going on with you, Brian? And I told her that I had these headaches. My back is constantly killing me, and I don't have any drive. And I told her about the kinds of headaches I get. And until reading about Chiari, I didn't necessarily understand what was causing my headaches, like coughs or straining. But I have noticed that recently these things definitely have been affecting it. I digress. She sent me to a neurologist right away, straight away. He had me run a series of tests. I had EMGs done, which is not as bad as it sounds. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, if you find yourself interesting, the pain, the discomfort, it's not pain. The discomfort isn't there. So if you're interested in it, cool. I came back normal, which is great because he had me thinking I had Parkinson's or something like that because I was shaking. And I was like, oh, great, wonderful. All these years of making fun of Michael J. Fox are coming back to haunt me. So he said, let's get you some MRIs again. You haven't had it since 2010. And until I brought him my old ones from 2010, I brought him the reports because I had all my records sent over from the previous endocrinologist, and I called the imaging facility and had them send them to me. And he read me a report that said I had Chiari 1 malformation and a herniation of 21 millimeters. And I looked at him and I said, great, that sounds awesome. I've always wanted something that long. Which he didn't find funny, and he kind of looked at me and he's like, well, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. It's pretty common from what I understand, so, don't worry about it. Come back to me and we'll check out to see what your next MRI says and see if it looks any different. And I came back, 2 weeks later after thinking, oh, well, this is no big deal whatsoever. This guy knows what the hell he's talking about. And I get the MRI results, and I bring him into him, and he looks at him, and he looks at me, and he says, first of all, before I look at these results, I want to tell you, I was kind of, I don't know the word he used, but he says, I was kind of, I probably should have been a little nicer about that. It isn't quite so common, per se, and it is kind of serious. So immediately, I'm like, okay, what? Go on. And he looks at my MRI, and he tells me, and he shows me everything, which, as you understand, he shows you everything, what's going on. So sorry. And he explained to me that I have a 21 millimeter herniation. It kind of explains to me how everything works, as we all know with Chiari. And he says, you can treat it if you want. It's a pretty invasive procedure. I don't personally recommend it. There's a great doctor in Aurora that treats specifically this disease. It's totally up to you, Brian. And of course, I'm hearing the word surgery, invasive, neurosurgeon, brain. No thanks. I hate having my tonsils taken out. Last time I had something done with my surgery, they ended up having to take something else out, and I had 48 stitches in my throat, and I couldn't talk for 2 weeks. You get how that could be a problem for me. I hate losing my memory. I hate this. It's a problem.